Shabbat Shalom and Boker Tov. Welcome to Congregation Ahavat Hesed, and a very special day for the Smilowitz family and for all those that are attending. My name is Gene Myers, and the purpose of my being up here right now is just go over some of the rules that we have, and I hate that term rules, but some of the rules that we have, the protocols, procedures, considering COVID. These were adopted by the board on November 30th of last year, and the board will revise them from time to time, but we want to be careful and we want to watch out for everybody's health and well-being. One is, as you came in, your temperatures all checked and you all passed with flying colors. We ask that you maintain social distance. I know it's difficult because you're seeing some people for the first time in months, but it's extremely important, and that's when you're leaving as well as when you came in and when you're seated. So please maintain that distance, and when the service is over, we're going to ask the two ushers that helped you to your seats to dismiss rows one at a time going out on the side aisles, and we ask that you return the books. Please wear your mask covering the nose and mouth the entire time you're in the building. It's extremely important. It's the best protection you have with COVID because it is airborne. The restrooms are all open. We ask that one person be in there at a time because they are tight. And I hope that you all have a great service, enjoy it, and the family have a fantastic time, and just congratulations after the service is over. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that now. But anyway, take care all. Enjoy the service.
Thank you, Gene. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So, of course, we know it's not just the Smilos family. This is the Smiller-Marksowitz family. It's a big congratulations today to the Markses and the Smilowitzes and the Millers, and it's a big, exciting thing that we're doing here today. Here in this room together, able to celebrate after such a long, long year. Justin was one of the B'nai Mitzvah during the Zoom era, the early Zoom era of this pandemic, and was my first Zoom bar mitzvah of the entire COVID experience. So, and then we also had a Zoom wedding. So what a journey it's been, and it really is very special and exciting to be here today, sitting with all of you in the sanctuary. We're gonna open up this morning with a little Hine Ma Tov, just celebrate being here together. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for us to be here together as one. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov, la 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 la. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov, la 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 la. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. So again, Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to ask that you take a moment, if you haven't already, to silent your cell phones, because of course Gigi has worked very hard for this day, and we don't want our ringtones to disturb the sanctity of the moment. The prayer book that we're using this morning is called Mishkan Tefillah. And because Hebrew is read from right to left, you'll find the book itself opens from right to left as well. We'll be announcing page numbers as we go. As we move from page to page, though, if we're just moving from one page to another, we probably won't announce the page. Just go ahead. If we've read another prayer, head on over to the next page. For those of you who may be following at home with a PDF that we sent to you, you're using a different set of page numbers, but your PDF, for those of you at home, it does flow from one page to the next. So if we experience a big page jump, I'll let you know, and I'll announce your page numbers as well. So it's an important milestone that we're going to witness today, but we're not just here to watch. Our services are meant to encourage participation. There's going to be lots of times that we ask you to read along and to join us in song. So please join wherever you are comfortable. And it's my honor now to invite Gigi to the Bema. She's going to begin with a reading that you'll find on page 170 of your prayer book. And if you're following along at home, it is the very first page of your document. And on the bottom right-hand corner, you should see the page number 288. But for those of us in the room, again, 170. Give them a moment until we hear the pages settled, and then you'll lead us in prayer, Gigi. All right, go ahead.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage. May I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found in the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes. As I wrap my...
Wait, hold on. Okay.
As I
No,
wrap...
don't. It's me. I got to do all that stuff.
Oh,
It's okay.
yeah.
You're so excited, Gigi. Do you want to just run from prayer to prayer and we'll cut out all of my talking? We don't need to do any of my
That's
talking.
fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to talk a tiny bit about the prayer shawl. Okay, so we'll let everybody know. So most of you are probably very familiar, those of you that with the prayer shawl that I'm wearing, and of course the important part of the talit, the prayer shawl, is this system of knots and fringes that fall on the corners. The Torah instructs us to tie tzitzit, these fringes on the corners of our garments, so that we maybe look upon them and remember the mitzvot, our Jewish imperatives. And that's because as we add up the knots and the strings, it totals 613, which is actually the number of commandments that are found in the Torah. These mitzvot, these commandments, are connections which link us with Torah and link us with God and link us with our ancestors. Tzitzit adorn the edges of our prayer shawls as mezuzot adorn the edges of our doorways. We find holiness at the edges between day and night, between inside and outside, and between childhood and adulthood. So Gigi, when you wrap yourself in your talit, may you feel enfolded in the loving embrace of the divine. And when you notice your tzitzit, may you be reminded to lead a life of mitzvot and awareness. And now it's my honor to call up your mother, Caroline, to present you with your talit. And as when she gets on the Bema, you will read for us on page 72.
As I wrap myself in the talit, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehi atef bat tzitzit. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hauls us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
And now as Caroline takes her seat, I'm going to have everyone turn over to page 74 as we continue with Ma Tovu. Ma tovu, ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, shchinotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha, avo leitecha. Eshtachavei eilecha, kodshecha v'yirudecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, shchinotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'od beitecha, u'mekom mishkan kvodecha. Ani eshtachavei ve'echra Evlecha b'fnei Adonai osi. Ma tovu, ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, shchinotecha Yisrael. Shchinotecha Yisrael. Shchinotecha Yisrael. Our service continues on page 78. And if you're following along at home, your page will say 196.
My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you, Adonai my God, and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hands is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai asher bayado nefesh kol hai v'ruach kol basar ish.
Amen. On page 80, we begin a series of blessings called Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles of every day. Gigi is going to recite these blessings for us in Hebrew, and we're going to respond after each blessing with the English translation.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sefina lefarhen ben yom uven laila.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who lifts up the fallen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rakar haaretz al hamayim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechem netzadeh gaver.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who strengthens our steps.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'aif koach.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shinai me'enai u'numa me'afapai.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who made me in the image of God.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'chorim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me free.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozir Yisrael b'gvura.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who girds Israel with strength.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otir Yisrael b'tifara.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who crowns Israel with splendor.
I'm a Jew because the faith of Israel demands no abdication of my mind. I'm a Jew because the faith of Israel requires all the devotion of my heart. I'm a Jew because in every place where suffering weeps, the Jew weeps. I'm a Jew because at every time when despair cries out, the Jew hopes. I'm a Jew because the word of Israel is the oldest and the newest. I'm a Jew because Israel's promise is the universal promise. I'm a Jew because for Israel the world is not completed, we are completing it. I'm a Jew because for Israel humanity is not created, we are creating it. I'm a Jew because Israel places humanity and its unity above the nations and above Israel itself. I'm a Jew because above humanity, image of the divine unity, Israel places the unity which is divine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher gichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you. Do I read that?
Yeah, go.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who halls us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage in the words of Torah.
We continue on the middle of page 88, and if you're following the PDF, it's 206.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Encompasses them all. We got it exactly.
That's fine.
We have now a big jump in pages for us here in the sanctuary. We're going to head over now to page 106. And for those of you following the PDF, it should be very close by. You're going to be looking for 224. Amen. Yehi shmiratam mivorach le'olam u'lamei alamaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekucha brichu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran mi'alema V'meru Amen. And as we turn over to page 108, we rise for the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, and straight from the Baruch Hu, we will continue on to 110 for the Yotzer prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom shalom uvorei et hakol. Yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom shalom uvorei et hakol. Our service continues on the middle of page 111.
You are praised, who rolls out the rough raw clay of the universe into delicate vessels of light, and from nothing at all we could perceive in a world that has turned old, a shimmering new creation right before our eyes, made this moment just for us. How much of life reveals your presence? How much Torah unfolds from each new flower, from each new wave that breaks up upon the sea. You are praised, who forms the clay that cloaks our lives, the delicate vessels which contain our light. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzir Hamarot.
We turn over now to the middle of page 113.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. A light blinded we saw, that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote, we reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back, then climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael b'ha'ava.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We can all be seated as Gigi continues leading us with the words of Ve'ahavta on page 116.
Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohim mitzavaha hayom alevavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibartabam v'shivteha v'veiteha uv'lechteha v'derech uv'shokbeha uv'kumeha uv'shartam leo al yadeha ve'hayu letotafo bein eineha uktavtam Amizuzo muzeha vishareha lamon tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohehem ani Adonai Elohehem asher hotzeiti ethem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohehem.
We're going to turn over now to page 121. If you're following on the PDF at home, it's 239. We're in the middle of the page. We're going to read responsively. Gigi's going to lead us, and we will answer with the indented paragraphs.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing, and you'll find the words to Micha Mocha at the top of the next page. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh, Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh. Noradi Lord, Osefele, Noradi Lord, Osefele, Adonai, Imloch leolam va'ed. Shir HaChadashah, Shibchu ke'olim, L'shimcha safat hayam, Yachad kulam odu, V'chim lichu v'yamnu, Adonai, Imloch leolam va'ed. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar b'kodesh, Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar b'kodesh. Noradi Lord, Osefele, Noradi Lord, Osefele, Adonai, Imloch leolam va'ed. Sur Yisrael, Kol Yisrael, Yisrael, Ufnechenu mecha, Yehuda Yisrael. Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. As we turn over to page 124, we rise together for our tefillah.
Adonai, Sifatai Tiftayu, Via Gitihilateha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Konye Hakol, Vizacher Hastem, Vimaho Umevi Geula, Ne Benehem, Lama Shemo Bahava, Melech Osir O Mashiach Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Megain Avraham, Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Ramzal Shia, Morid Hatah, Mechaye Hayim Behesed, Mechaye HaKol Barachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Veroflei Holim, Umatir Asirim, Kayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Miha Moha Ba'agevurot, Umidomech La, Melech Memi v'ne'emanata l'hayo ha'akol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeha.
Top of page 130. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, לקרוא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ונצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושפחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני הקדוש. Let us be seated once more, and we're going to join together at the top of 132. In your PDF, that's 250, as we see the words of Yismichu and rejoice in Shabbat together. Yismichu lemalachutcha, shomri, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oneg Shabbat. Yismichu lemalachutcha, shomri, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oneg Shabbat. מקדשי שמי שבת, כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מצורך השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ומשמי רצית בו וקידשת שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. Our service continues at the top of page 135.
We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, For Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love, we offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
We turn to the middle of page 137 on our PDF. That's 255.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'ot ha, levad ha, b'yir'ah na'avod.
On page 139, you'll find a list of things for which we are grateful. Gigi is going to lead us in each one of those paragraphs, and you'll see at the end of the paragraph, each time it says the words modim anachnu lach. That means we thank you, and of course we're talking to God. So Gigi's going to read the paragraphs, and we're all going to respond as a community with those words modim anachnu lach.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and to choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may not live by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimha ucha ne'el lahadod.
Amen. And as we turn over to the next page for Sim Shalom, Gigi, I'm going to say you can go take a seat for a few moments. You'll have a lot more standing to do, and we can all join together in this prayer for peace, Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom. Tova uracha, chen ha'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, parchinu yotzinu kulanu ke'achad, ve'ol panecha, pilion panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Tova uracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, Torah chaim ve'ahavat chesed, ve'ahavat chesed, u'tzedaka u'vracha v'rachamim, ve'chaim v'shalom. Sim shalom. Tova uracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, v'tov b'yinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael, v'chol yitzu v'chol shah b'shalom necha. Sim shalom. Tova uracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. We'll take a moment now for our own silent prayers, and when we come back together, it will be on page 142 with Oseh Shalom. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. That melody for Osei Shalom was a special request from Gigi, and if you saw how she was rocking out to the Shema, you know how important it is that we find all the music that we connect to. I hope that that met your expectations, Miss Gigi. Okay, it is time now to turn to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah. I'm going to ask you just to give me a moment to shuffle some things around on the podium here. So we're going to head over to page 244. If you're following the PDF, it should be page 362. And it is my honor now, as we rise, as we're going to open the Ark, to invite up to the Bema Gigi's grandmother, Margaret Miller, and her mother, Caroline Smilowitz. Let us rise. Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kemasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz li'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim. This is the Torah. It contains the history of our people, which has been passed from generation to generation for over 3,000 years. It has been carried by the Jewish people from land to land, often at great peril. The word Torah itself means teaching. And while it tells the story of the Jewish people, it also contains the pathways toward living a life of value. Gigi is blessed with an abundance of love, wisdom, and support from those generations that have preceded her and who join us here today to witness her passage into young adulthood. And we know that your Grandma Bunny is joining us virtually, Gigi, And she sends this message to you, to my beautiful granddaughter, Mazel Tov, on your very special day. Lots of hugs and kisses. I love you. And today, first, Gigi's baby, Margaret, and then her mother, Caroline, will take the Torah into their arms to represent the generations of Gigi's grandparents and parents. And then Caroline will physically pass the Torah to Gigi as she takes her place as the next link in the chain of tradition. And Gigi, we hope that Torah will always be a source of comfort to you, knowing that it connects you to all of the generations who have come before you. Page 248. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlul Adonai Shemo Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagedula V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Hahod Ki Chol B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz Ki Chol B'Shamayim Uvaretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamid naseh lechol lerosh. We can be seated once more. Of course, you're used to the tradition of what we call the hakafah, which is a parading around the sanctuary with the Torah. We're going to wait to return the hakafah tradition to our morning worship just a little further until we've achieved more of a herd immunity. You should have with you, you should have been handed out a sheet of paper that has Gigi's Torah portion this morning, and you'll be able to follow along. Okay, so it is my honor for the first aliyah to invite to the Bema Gigi's uncle Frank Miller and her stepbrothers Justin and Bradley Smilowitz. Can you take this? Do you want to put your bracelet down? Go to the microphone right here. Here's your Gigi. If you can just gather around, then people might actually be able to hear you on the. Thank you. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Asher tachlu mikol habehema asher ha'aretz kol mafreset parsa eshosa shesa parsa ma'alat gera habehema ota tochelu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
so much, everybody. I'm going to send you down. Thank you. And for the honor of our second Aliyah, we invite back to the Bema Gigi's bubby, Margaret Miller, and her brother, Eli Marks. Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar binu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Etze lo tochlu mima ale hagera umima frise haparsa et hagama kima ale gera ufarsa einenu mafris temehu lachem viet hashavan kima ale gera ufarsa lo Yafrisa temehu lachem viet ha'arnevet kima ale gera ufarsa lo yifrisa temeachi lachem.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'dechenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Sure, you can go. For the honor of the third Aliyah, we invite to the Torah Caroline and Rob Smilowitz.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Havarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Viet ha'chazir kima fris parsa v'shosar shesa parsa vehu gera lo yigar temehu lachem mibsaram lo toklu uvnivatam lo tigau temeim heim lachem etze toklu mikol asher b'mayim kol asher lo napir v'kas kezet b'mayim bayamim uvan halim otam tokelu.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'sochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. For the fourth Aliyah, it is my privilege to officially call Gigi Marks as Bat Mitzvah. Ta'amor ziva chaya bat chayim Moshe v'zahava rivcha bachora bat mitzvah la'aliyah la'torah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Havarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
V'chol asher ein lo Sinapir Vikas Kezet Bamayim Uvan Halim Mikol Sheret Hamayim Umikol Nefesh Hahaya Asher Bamayim Sheket Hein Lachem Vesheket Yiyu Lachem Mibsaram Lo Toklu Viet Nivatam Tishaketu Kol Asher Ein Lo Sinapir Vikas Kezet Bamayim Sheketu Lachem Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Fantastic, Gigi. That was a beautiful reading from Torah. You're going to be rewarded with a moment to sit down. Did we almost lose her? It is our tradition while we have the Torah out to turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing. So if you turn to page 253 in your prayer book, you'll find our Mishaberach prayer. Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless and heal those who are ill. Our congregational family is especially thinking of Carol Babcock, Donna Berlin, Rosalie Teddy Bono, Cantor Joel Bressler, Dr. David Cassius, Tom Davis, Devorah Bat-Rachel, Helene Edwards, Art Fields, Amanda Garamita, Jim Grant, Mary Hartman, Robert Kay, Marilyn Levitt, Teresa Levy, Joe London, Barbara McDonald, Moshe, David Ben-Yeda, Gary Nadler, Naomi Nagel, David Osofsky, Laura Osofsky, Buddy Pollock, Jean Posen, Joyce Racklin, Randall Rout, Sandra Resnikoff, Alex Rosen, Stephanie Sibilia, Ruthie Silver, Ron Sohn, Bernice Tobias, Lois Van Alstine, David Van Alstine, and Ruth Van Alstine, Judy Van Gorder, Gina Weston, Alexa Welch. And if you have any names that you'd like to add to our list this morning of someone who, in your life, who is in need of healing, please go ahead and say your names out loud as I come by your row. For all of those whom we've named aloud and those that we hold in our hearts, we join together in our song of healing found in the middle of page 253. Misheberach avotenu Mikor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mikor habracha lamortenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We're going to take a moment now to lift and dress the Torah. So I am at the bottom of page 252. Please rise. V'zot haTorah asher sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. All right, we can be seated again. Stay with me. Gigi's going to share with us now a section from her Haftarah. Her Haftarah this morning is taken from the second book of Samuel. You'll be able to follow along on your sheet that you've been given. And if you would like to follow along with the Haftarah blessings, those can be found on page 254. Oh, and I'm going to invite Rob Smilitz to come up and join Gigi, her Haftarah support for the morning. We all need a little Haftarah support.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nim tovim v'ratzav v'direihem hane'emarim be'et. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe Avdo, u'Yisrael Amo, u'Vinviei ha'et b'tzedek. Hu yiv nevai lishmi bechonanti et kisei mamlachto adolam. Ani yelo la'av behu yeli levain asher baha'ovoto beho hachtiv b'shevet anashim uvnigei b'nei adam. Bahasti lo yasur mimenu ka asher hasiroti me'im Shaul asher hasiroti milfaneha. V'neman beiteha u'mamlachteha adolam lefaneha kisaha yiyeh nechun adolam. Kahol hadvarim ha'ele u'chol hahizeyon hazeh kain diber Natan el David.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol ha'amim sadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'na'eman ha'omer v'yoseh ha'medaber u'mekayim shekol devrarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al nevi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha Lekavo Utiferet. Ahakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modimach Umvarchim Otach Yitbarach Shimcha Befi Kol Hai Tamid Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Nice teamwork.
That was good for no practice.
Beautiful. Gigi, you're going to stay up here. Part of becoming bat mitzvah is not just learning to read from the Torah, but also studying Torah and interpreting Torah. So Gigi's going to take a few moments now to discuss her Torah portion with us and a bit about what it was like becoming bat mitzvah. And Gigi, you may take off your mask so that everyone can see your beautiful face.
Okay. Good morning. How is everyone? I'm so grateful that you are all here today to celebrate with me as I become a bat mitzvah. You know, since my 13th birthday, I've been feeling pretty old, and it's made me think about dinosaurs. Do any of you happen to know where dinosaurs had their bat mitzvahs? Where? Jurassic Park. Okay. My Torah portion is called Shemini. It comes from the book of Leviticus, which is the 3rd book in the Bible. In my Torah portion, we learn about kashrut, including the rules into particular animals that are kosher and those that are not. Kashrut are the Jewish laws about consuming and comparing food. One important rule in my portion is that we are told to not boil a baby goat in its own mother's milk. This is considered an ethical law. Some other ethical rules of kashrut include how to butcher an animal for food. For example, we want it to be an easy death for the animal and try to make it fast so they don't have to suffer even more. Many less traditional Jews like me don't celebrate the laws of kashrut, but more observant Jews do. For me personally, I do not keep kosher and do not observe the laws of kashrut, but I realize that other Jews find it meaningful to do so. They may see keeping kosher as an obligation, or some may feel that being kosher brings us together and that is something that unites us. Because so many people in the world do not keep kosher, while I don't disagree with them, I think that there are many other aspects of Judaism that unites us as well, and I tend to focus on those. Some things that can make Jewish people different and special is how we all come together to observe our holidays, pray, eat good traditional foods, and have a great time. Often we are celebrating holidays that commemorate historical successes, such as Passover, Purim, and Hanukkah. While I may not practice all of them, I find most of the traditions that we have in Judaism are meaningful, and certainly becoming a bat mitzvah is one of them. I used to only think about the party aspect of my bat mitzvah, but this past year has shown me that becoming a bat mitzvah is a big accomplishment and something to be very proud of. It has truly been a step into adulthood. I've worked hard to learn my Torah and Haftorah as well, and all of the prayers. All of the practices were held over Zoom, which made the process a little harder than it should have been, and I had to be even more committed to do the work. A pandemic bat mitzvah was not what I pictured, but now that I'm here, I'm just thankful that I'm actually able to have this service in person and include some family and friends, but I'm still most excited about the party. These are some people that I must thank who have helped me reach this day. Michael Kerr and Cantor for helping me learn all my prayers in my Torah and Haftorah, and of course being able to put up with me. Sarah, Ella, and Maggie for coming here today to support me, and of course being great friends no matter what. Eli, Justin, and Bradley for always making me laugh and cry sometimes, and of course having my back. Bubby for always being someone that I can come to with my problems and teaching me everything I know about cooking and baking. Uncle Frank, and a quick thank you to Alex, Ben, and Josh, the Brits, for always making me laugh and always having an exciting visit. Dad and Grandma Bunny for coming to support me here today. Mom and Rob, thank you for always being there and pushing me to practice, but really pushing me to be my best self. Of course, thank you for footing the bill for my party. Shabbat Shalom. Yep. That's really good.
Okay, it's my honor now to invite to the Bema Gigi's godparents, Dr. Dennis and Mrs. Karen Buckman, who are going to lead us in the prayer for our country on page 258.
Thus Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness.
Thank you so much. Now we're going to return to the Torah, to the Ark. If you would all rise as we turn to page 256. Hodo l'eretz v'shamayim v'yarem keren li'amo tehila lechol chasidav Israel ham kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chaim hi lama zikim v'tomachecha meushar dirachecha darcheinom v'chon tivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chaydish yameinu chaydish yameinu kekedem. Gigi, today you take responsibility for your own Jewishness and your own practice of mitzvot. Becoming bat mitzvah means that the Torah is yours in a new and deeper way, yours to learn and to teach, to question and to celebrate. Becoming bat mitzvah means that the mitzvot are yours in a new and deeper way, yours to practice and to wrestle with, to strive to understand. Today, as you reach the age of mitzvah, you mark a milestone in your transition into adulthood. Though tradition teaches that today your good deeds and your mistakes accrue to your own karmic balance and no longer to your parents, may they still be privileged to walk beside you and offer guidance. And we all look forward to continuing to learn from you as you become the person you most deeply yearn to be. And may we, your community, your family, your friends, be a blessing for you as you are a blessing for us. And to all of your family, today marks the transition for all of you, whether you live under one roof or several, whether you are related by blood or by affection. You are family to one another, and your lives are all impacted by this milestone. Perhaps recent months have been filled with the lilt of Torah practice. Perhaps you helped our bat mitzvah in doing acts of justice and loving kindness. Perhaps you've been a shoulder to cry on, or perhaps you've needed a shoulder to cry on. Take a deep breath, let it all go. Be in this moment surrounded by those who love you, celebrating this milestone with community in the presence of God. And may the sweetness of this day stay with you as you walk the road ahead toward this bat mitzvah becoming more truly the person she is meant to be. And it's now my privilege, Gigi, to be able to offer you the ancient words of our Torah, the priestly benediction. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find that greatest gift of all, the gift of peace. And let us all say, Amen. We can be seated once more, and I invite Caroline to the Bema. Sorry. You don't look at that. This is for me. Whew. Gigi. So as I was trying to decide what to say today, my mind kept wandering back to a conversation I had picking you up from preschool so many years ago. One of your teachers, Miss Esther, told me, she said, "You're Gigi. She has such an abundant personality." I chuckled when she said it, mostly because of how loud and animated you were at the time. But as the years have gone by, the meaning of that comment has grown. You are abundantly funny. You are abundantly spirited. And at times, you are abundantly loud and stubborn. But what does the word really mean? I went ahead and, as you like to say, searched it up. Here is what I found. It means existing or occurring in large amounts, marked by great plenty. What does this mean to you, though? Well, Gigi, what I think it means now, as you are growing up, is that you carry with you a very large bag of resources, everything you need, and then some, to make for yourself a very good life. I want you to remember that, and I also want you to know that you have enough to share with others, people who may not be so abundant. Be kind and generous to them, as you truly have plenty. Well, I almost made it this far without crying. So here's the rest. Sitting on our kitchen window sill over the sink, there is a picture. It's actually a copy of something that Bubby had made for me years ago. It's a picture of a little girl wearing a very large crown with a caption that says, "On the darkest days when I feel inadequate, unloved, and unworthy, I remember whose daughter I am, and I straighten my crown." I see that picture every day because, as you all know, those dishes need doing every single day. And I think often about what it says and try to follow its simple instruction. As you venture out in your life, Gigi, I want you to also think about this statement. I know that you will soon sprout some pretty big wings and fly off into a fantastic life. I know that you will find success and happiness. I know, too, that there will be days that you stumble, days that you feel frustration, loneliness, and fear. And after those days, when you straighten that crown of yours, I want you always to remember whose daughter you are. Obviously, scientifically speaking, you're my daughter. But also, you are a daughter of your religion, evidenced by the names of the 4 matriarchs on the talit that is wrapped around you today. You are a daughter of this amazing country and all of its history. You are a daughter of your family heritage from both the Marks and the Miller sides. You are the daughter of some amazing men and women who are no longer here, but who you hear stories about and know by name. You are a daughter of all of these people around you, from the ones who are here to the ones who are thinking of you today from a distance and on the Zoom or live stream. I want you to take what you have seen from all of these mothers and fathers and use it in your life to always pick yourself up, to never feel alone, and most certainly to keep your crown straight and your chin high. These mothers and fathers have shown you in 13 years everything you need to know to succeed for the rest of your life. Continue to watch them all, continue to honor your faith in your country, and you will thrive. You have made me proud today.
Stop crying.
This is a big milestone in your life, and I hope you will remember it always. From me now, my joy
watching you mature. I see it happening, yet every now and then, in little bits and pieces, your youth peeks through, and that makes me love you even more.
You can. Okay, bye.
Now it's my honor to invite Isabel Ballatin to the Bema to present you, Gigi, with some gifts from your congregation.
Gigi, I'm delighted to be joining you here on the Bema representing our congregation and the Temple's Board of Trustees. Mazel tov, we are so proud of you. Our Temple Religious School and B'nai Mitzvah program has prepared you well for this occasion. You've demonstrated beautifully your readiness and enthusiasm to participate fully in religious life of the Temple and continue your Jewish studies. Now for a more personal touch. Gigi, the fact that we share this nickname makes you extra special to me. Names have always been important to the Jewish people. Your real name, Golda, has so much meaning. There has never been a woman in history since the prophetess Deborah who held more meaningful influence among our people than Golda Meir. Golda's significance as both a leader and a woman of excellence came from choices she made, one at a time. In her case, it was her confidence and strong will as Prime Minister which helped to guide and protect our state of Israel. For your life, Gigi, may you also become a woman of honor like Golda, a woman of wisdom, a woman of insight and chutzpah. She's a third of the way there because she's got the chutzpah. To carry the namesake of such a woman as Golda Meir is not a burden for you to bear, but an inspiration to be a young woman of influence, to be aware of your talents and specialness, so you too can be a blessing to so many others. Golda Meir would have had no idea when she was your age how much of an influence she would be to our people. So, as I present these gifts to you on behalf of the Temple, in honor of you becoming a bat mitzvah, I do so to encourage you to follow your highest dreams, to be aware of how you might use your talents to make the world a better place. May God's light always be upon you, your loving parents, brothers, and my dearest friend, your beautiful and devoted Bubby, and all the people you love and cherish. Mazel tov. Now I have some very meaningful gifts for you, and I hope will strengthen your Jewish identity and encourage your lifelong learning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, a Kiddush cup, candlesticks from Temple Sisterhood, a mezuzah from Temple Clergy, the Plout Commentary Travel Edition from Temple Brotherhood. And you have somewhere, we have a certificate from Temple. And I'm also pleased to present you with a very special gift from our Jewish Federation and Foundation of Northeast Florida. This certificate enrolls you in the Joan Levin Gift of Israel program, which provides a subsidy of $700 you can apply to almost any organized Israel experience. In addition, NIFTY, National Federation of Temple Youth, is pleased to present you with a $250 certificate, good for any NIFTY program in Israel. All of us, your parents, our clergy, teachers, congregation, look forward to sharing many more occasions with you at Temple, as many of your generations before you have. Mazel tov. Love you.
Thank you, Isabel. All right, so as we move towards the conclusion of our service, did you save? Yes, they saved a spot for you down there. Gigi, why don't you go sit next to Mom for the next little bit? And we're going to turn in our prayer books now to page 282 for the Aleinu, and I'll ask everyone to rise once more. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer b'rishit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated. We head over now to page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth. Our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Our congregational family is observing the period of Shiva for William A. Shedlin, and the month of Shloshim for Myra Dubrovkina, Lois Zoller, Howard Enzel. In this Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeit of Bertha Adler, Murray Alpern, Dylan Ash Huxold, Antonia Ausello, Sarah Bloomfield, Blanche Krieger, Isadora Crystal, Marie Golden, Dr. Jacob Green, Morris David Greenberg, Morton R. Hirschberg, Max Jaffe, Elsie Katz, Solon Klepper, Dorothy Isaac Krapf, Bernard Marco, Kathleen Moss, Reuben Moss, Louis Newman, Anna Casa O'Brien, Barbara Paliv, Bernard Rosenberg, Thelma Rosenberg, Jack Rosenberg, Irving Silver, Morton Silverstein, Annie Staring, Sam Witten, Jean Witten, Abraham Zimmerman. If there is anyone today who you are remembering and whose name you would like to share in this time of memory, please go ahead and share those names now. Don't worry, we're getting there. But even though it may not be traditional yahrzeit, at this time when we gather with family, if there are names of family members that you're thinking of that you want to share, those names you could say aloud. Otherwise, we will join together and rise as a community for the Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, Bema divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon uvyomei chon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ul'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dukudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Let's be seated as we turn over to page 321 for the singing of Adon Olam, after which Gigi will come back up and we'll have a little Kiddush and Motzi. 321. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira, V'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Zay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'acharei Kitlot HaKol, V'adon Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hover, V'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni, V'am Shelo Le'hachbira Adon Olam, V'li Reishit V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz V'hamizra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Eli V'chai Goli, V'tzur Chavli B'yitzara Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi U'ma'anosli, V'nachossi B'yom Ekra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, B'yado Hafkin Ruchi, V'et Tishan V'yayira Adon Olam, Ve'im Ruchi Yiviyati, Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nira, Li'ed Nasa, V'chefso Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. So as Gigi makes her way back up to the Bema to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi, I'll remind everybody that we ask as you exit the sanctuary today to please bring your prayer books with you because we're going to return them to the back of the room. And I believe that we're going to be dismissing row by row out the side, the outer edges of the sanctuary so as not to crowd the center aisle. So if everybody would join us. That was not generous at all. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
You can have it. Do I have to have it?
No, I won't make you.
You can have it.
Wise choice. Oh, we left it in the bag.
I should get this all up, by the way.
It's stuck in its bag. It's staying. It's staying in the bag.
Saying that's good.
What if we bless it? Will it come out if we bless it?
Do you want me to do it?
Yes. I'll drink the wine. Break her nails. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon, Gigi, will you take a piece of that?
I mean, I guess.
If I make you? So, Gigi, you did such a beautiful job this morning. You recited the prayers, you read from the Torah, a beautiful service. All that's left is for us to wish you a very hearty Mazel Tov. Semen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Semen Tov, Semen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Semen Tov, Semen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Semen Tov. Yeheilanu, 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 Ulekol Yisrael. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ulekol Yisrael. Mazel Tov, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all for being here.